Maybe it's... I think Tucker timed that out perfectly. We got to have the only Blades hour-long, let's talk about this subject, and I feel like that's obviously losing steam, so I think he timed it out pretty well.
Is there anybody here?
I haven't been to church in the last 10 years.
This one's locked.
I don't really go to church either. I just...
Ready for an invite.
Sweet. Yeah, full transparency. I've just chosen to believe that Christ was the Son of God, that there was a divine creator in all this. And I hope that's true. And that's faith. That's what I've chosen to believe in. But I'm not, like, real out about it, you know. 311, it's a good band. It's a good band. And obviously, you know, I'm big on freedom of religion. Everybody speaks freedom of the press, First Amendment. So like I said, I don't try to really flaunt it.
Let's see what's up for trade, eh?
Of course.
It's not like it's unique anyways. We're in the freaking United States of America. It's like 76% Christian, you know? It's like, all I am is a statistic. My Puritan ancestors went to church for 6 hours. I'm simply the generational cause. Freedom from religion. There we go. That's the ultimate pose right there. Didn't the guitars from 311 get, like, massive?
Hello, Tucker.
Hello, Tucker. Welcome back. I made some progress, Tucker. We got, oh, I really didn't make very much progress at all. I talked a lot. I talked and drove around a lot.
But didn't really do much.
I found a food bag. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did.
Oh, nope. They didn't take out any leg hearts or anything.
No. I was trying to get us the big base, but I was trying to recruit somebody, but I couldn't find any damn food. And then it became like, let's talk about this guy who basically died on stream. Not all churches are equal either. Not that I know. Oh, whoops. I am a member of the United Methodist Church. Okay, where we go? Which I've talked about in detail that I often regret here on the stream because I sound like I'm a Karen or something. It's something personal and private for me. It's for everybody. Religion is private, religion is personal to everybody, and I completely respect that.
I'm glad we found this first.
I often think about some of my dumber moments here on the stream talking about religion, and that's the kind of stuff that you wake up at 3 in the morning in a cold sweat and think, God almighty, I'm a moron.
Where's my last object here? It's on the
That's
roof.
one way to start a party.
Made plenty of noise. All your stuff that you lost. Well, I didn't leave this server, so it should still be over there. We need to go get this car fixed up, though. These damn people, I can't give them a food bag because we're so hard up for food ourselves. And the corner office
Wait for me.
Such a lag zone. Run to the construction area.
Okay. Oh, I guess
we
that's...
need to recruit 2 more people, Tucker.
Then we'll be able to get a new base.
Yeah. And I don't think there's many hearts left. I think Tyrell and Wilso gave us a huge boost. And if you remember, there's only like 3 missions in the Legacies once you get the hearts. We can fight out of here.
Okay.
And there's a bloater working its way up.
The more blood plague hearts you get rid of, does the amount of blood plague zombies decrease?
Say again.
Whenever you kill plague hearts, does the amount of plague zombies increase or
More zombies,
decrease?
It doesn't change one way or another.
Ah.
We used to think that how it works, and I think it should work this way, is that it got worse. It strengthened and consolidated around one source. But it turns out that it's just random. Like, we always used to think that the hearts went in order from the weakest to the strongest as you progress through the playthrough. You might fight the strongest heart midway through if you just started into it. They do vary. They do go from weakest to strongest, but they're not in like linear order. It's the map gets randomly generated. So just one that's gonna spawn weak and one's gonna spawn strong. That's how that's gonna work. This area is just the corner office area on Lethal.
It's so laggy.
It's a laggy area, and it's a dead place, man. It's a dead zone.
The main problem here isn't the zombies, it's the freaking lag.
In that case, like, running through me was a really bad idea, okay? Really bad.
Wait,
You
what?
don't kite the zombies through me when I'm trying to take aim on a bloater. Run away from me.
Does anyone out there need to do some training?
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You used me as a human wall, but I'm not an NPC.
Okay, I'm doing bad. Like, bright light and angels bad.
Alright, our goal, Tucker, is to get... Oh god, Tucker lost a guy. Is to get through the goddamn playthrough. What I'm saying right now... Hey, it finally worked. Oh, it did the stupid sound effect. That Tucker is gonna kill me. We're all NPCs, that's true. It's not personal what I'm saying to you, Tucker, right now. I know you want to be through this playthrough because it's taken us, thank you also, multiple weeks. Many weeks to
That's pretty heavy.
get here. Feel like I should save this girl. She has a really good stamina bar, and she's actually been pretty good.
I can't keep doing this. Still a few more of them.
Watch us get completely swarmed the next 5 seconds here. Of course, my mother married me to a so-called church family. Her mother-in-law was the pastor for a long time. Her motivation was money. So I got to order really a secret thing back. But my mother felt the same and asked my brother out of there. Yeah, it's terrible. I've seen it myself. I know you're not wrong. Believe me. There is some very dark sides to the church, and there's no doubt about it. You know, and there are some real obvious philosophical arguments to be made as to whether or not there's the existence of a God. As I said, it's just what I've chosen to believe in. It's my faith, but obviously I have no preconceived notions of holier-than-thou attitude. That
This outpost is now up and running.
few groups in the history of the world have made more mistakes than the Christian church, unfortunately.
Do you want me to refuel the ambulance?
Sure. I want you to actually come in so I can cure this girl. That would be amazing.
Okay, I'm coming.
She's probably gonna die. And the Catholics kill the Protestants. We can go on and on and on. And it's hardly worth it. But we've had, just in our little church that we had, which we went to because my grandpa went to school there. It was one of those all-in-one schoolhouses from back in the day.
One more of that.
And then it got converted into a church. And so we went there because, again,
That's
it was like a
pretty
boyhood
heavy.
thing for him. And we had roots there. And it went from a really, really nice country church, which is why I kept positive feelings years later on it. And there ended up being some really stupid drama because it's little old ladies going to church and they get bored. And my grandma worked her ass off on this church. Like, she was the treasurer.
Back on the air.
We used to have a lot of people come, and we would feed the poor. We did spaghetti suppers, and it was just really wholesome.
But as we all know,
And it was a really positive place for kids to be, and it was had a positive role in that community. It was Appalachia. But people get bored and they cause issues, and we didn't have the most exciting pastor, but he was a good guy and he was stable. He was a former lawyer, so he was a smart guy. And they didn't like him anymore for some reason. So we got a series of like 5 pastors we went through. And we never went back after that. One literally got fired from our church, went to another church that was massive, a few cities south of us, and married the guy down there. He was a virgin. He never knew what hit him. Seduced him, basically. Before it was all done, she was in charge of the church and owned the family business. And they owned a series of drugstores, were well-to-do. Bit of a crazy story that I gave you in the briefest way possible. The next guy, we feel 70% likely was a pedophile. I know it's weird, we've had a theme today, but he was all big on like, the children are my ministry, the children are my ministry, and would love to do private meetings with the young ones. And then word got out that some of the kids were saying, don't do meetings with Chuck, because Chuck will do things that you're not comfortable with. And it all stayed very hush-hush, but we got rid of Chuck. And then we brought in this Southern Baptist, which again, we're Methodist. This was our church, all right? We'd show up at 9:30, we'd sit, we'd shake each other's hands, people would talk about what's going on in their lives, what are they happy about, blessings and concerns, we called it. You'd say, hey, you know, life's going good, thank God for that, let's thank God. Or you'd say, life's going to shit, my teeth got pulled, my wife's dead. We say, well, let's pray about that doesn't sound good. Then we'd sing some hymns. Then the pastor would give about a 20 to 30 minute sermon. You know, and this is
clear. That's pretty heavy.
For lack of any other way of saying it, it's like stereotypical white people. Sit there, calmly, pacified, listen. Not that it's bad, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just, you know, it's a black church is considerably different than a white church.
Here.
And we were out in an hour. It's great. And every month we'd have dinner. And every month we'd do a spaghetti supper for anybody. It was open to the public, and we'd feed the poor and so on. And, you know, it's the whole Christian thing. Good works, be charitable, treat your neighbors you'd like to be treated. The golden rule. And when we got to Southern Baptist, it became like 3 hours. It was completely crazy. And my grandma's got a really bad back. She's got bone spurs in her spine and arthritic deterioration. So she's got a really bad back. And you're on these hard wood pews. They're just slightly comfortable, but they're not really nice in the least as far as like, yeah, I'm gonna sit back on a lazy boy and chill. Fart and belch and scratch my belly. They're rough after a while. So we had to leave, but they were all weird. This guy was also like obsessed with motorcycles and started bringing his motorcycle gang in, and it was really bad. It was actually really sad because I didn't have a deep connection to the church. I don't like going to church, but I felt like the thing that they originally had out there was really genuine and was closer to what I would imagine the Christian church of Christ would have been like and was meant to be
I just
like
dropped off a care package.
in our modern world. Because it wasn't holy, it wasn't, you know, or holier than thou, it wasn't rich, but it was just a good, safe place with good people in it. And it was open to the public, and it became something totally different, which was completely predictable. But the point that I was getting at was that a lot of the people who went to that church had gone there for decades. And they're extremely genuine. I'm sure you've met people who are like legit Christian. They're not just, they don't yell and complain like that lady in Kentucky who wouldn't sign birth certificates or marriage certificates because they were gay. I ain't Christian or dork-sided. Those people are just idiot showboaters. I'm talking about really genuine people. And I'm sure some of you have met those people in your life. They believe entirely in Christ as God. And they live their life according to it. They 100% live by that standard. And it always impresses me. It impresses me in Muslims too. It impresses me in all faiths when people really live up to like principles. You know, you got to be damn disciplined to be a legitimate Muslim. So those people got screwed is the point I'm getting at. And some of them are really old. And some of them dedicated their whole life to the church. And they would do anything. They volunteered. They gave time. They gave up their money. And they just work hard. It's the whole, you know, that classic thing they talk about, which I think today, you know, like, oh my God, that's racist to even mention it. But it's true. It's the whole work ethic thing. It's the whole Methodist work ethic and early Christian. It's like what the Amish live up to today. Some of the Amish are obnoxious, but a lot of them live to a really high standard and they work their ass off and they run really good businesses and stuff. That's the way that church was. And then it wasn't. Because a bunch of morons took it over. Who didn't respect, in my mind, my opinion, and thanks for letting me indulge myself on a rant. They didn't respect those people enough.
That was the laggiest side flip I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was crazy. Church is always full of drama. I grew up SDA and went to all black churches. Nice. What is SDA? Seven-day Adventist? Is that it? Like Dresman was the guy who won the Medal of Honor and wouldn't carry a gun. When we moved, we found out we found an Episcopal church that was down to earth and truly genuine. We had a youth group, did soup kitchens, went on trips. Yeah, right. Like that stuff, Dan. Like, and I've talked to something. We haven't seen something in a long time. I got some
stuff to trade.
We've talked to something about this too, and like, churches can be a legitimately positive place, and it might be
So nice
an
to
unpopular opinion, as people say. I don't care if it's unpopular or not. It was never constitutional to close down churches. Make them socially distanced, yes. Make them have limited capacity, yes. But the First Amendment covers the freedom of religion and the freedom of press, the freedom of speech. You can't close churches. There's no pause button on the Constitution. You can't ever suspend liberties. That's the first and foremost thing. And the second thing is, for people who really don't handle isolation well, having a community center, having a group where they belong is huge. It's huge. It's no longer just hyperbole or hypothetical that suicide rates have gone up during COVID. It's a fact. It's a terrible, tragic fact that the human brain is meant to be social. We're social animals. And some people can do isolation and most people can't. And it's had a terrible effect. And again, I'm all about mass social distance. We got to take this shit seriously. And I'm glad that we're starting to turn the tide in this war. It is very serious. But I personally think we have to always look at both sides of the arguments. These people that are like, oh, we should be locked down forever and there's no church and there's nothing. That's a massive mistake. I even read an article in the Times that said New York would thank the Supreme Court later for making New York open its churches. And I would say believe the same thing if it was a temple, if it was a synagogue, if it was a mosque. You can't do it. This has been a year. Correct, seventh day. Did you enjoy it, Bert Nerd? That everybody's had to eat their own lunch, though. And we'll go briefly into a controversial topic because I think everybody lost in this one.
I gotta catch my breath.
Republicans argued that it was completely okay for a business owner to say, hey, you can't, I'm not going to sell a cake to two gay men because I don't believe in gay marriage. There's arguments on both sides. We know that is prejudice, but, you know, it's like you can kind of see both sides of it because of freedom of religion and its whole But, you know, Republicans were all in on like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, now we're all against, like, you can't ban people off Twitter. Well, we decided that the cake owner didn't have to sell the gay guys, you know, the cake. So now you're saying that anytime you get deplatformed, that's like a First Amendment violation. You can't have it both ways. And then on the other team side, it's been, oh, you got to believe all women. Believe all women unless it's somebody on your team. Which I hate to bring up, but that's what's happened. You know, Kavanaugh, whether you liked him, whether you hated him, it didn't matter. What happened in that one, it was everybody, there was an allegation, and therefore he's guilty. Okay, now here we got the shoe on the other foot, right? There, it needs to be an investigation. Nobody's winning. Nobody's winning. They both have their freaking foot in their mouth. Yeah, it's believe all women, but assumption of innocence. Yes, it's freedom of religion,
So damn tired.
but your liberties are encircled by the rights of others, so your liberties can't infringe on somebody else's liberties. It's all complicated as hell,
That's gonna bring trouble.
but if there's anything in it, it's whenever you decide to, like, in my opinion, what it looks like, anytime you decide, you know, I'm going to put my freaking stake here, and regardless of how conditions on the ground change, and regardless of whether or not we're proven wrong in any capacity, we're not changing our position. And then when we look like hypocrites later, we just ignore that we ever said anything. I heard a lyric in a song that I found to be pretty on point. It had something like, instead of praying to God for strength, keep moving, people cheat to get ahead and ask for forgiveness. That is kind of true. Oh man, we've touched on some of the naughty stuff tonight, but whatever. It's your turn, Tucker. I'm actually more interested in your opinion. You're 11 years old. Do you think that Godzilla or King Kong will win? And how did you die?
Blood play got me.
Damn it, play it again, Sam.
Blood play got me. Well, last person in this community.
Man, that was quick. We should probably do something. You know, this playthrough is getting long in the tooth when
where you are.
my political opinions of March 2020 are now officially in the playlist. Let's try to kill this heart, Tucker.
Come on. I look up at parties. I think it's fun. La 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 la. Can you not
Oh,
tell?
they don't cop it out. Make it a draw. Yo, freak show. What up, buddy? Thanks for being here. I think that we're actually in a really interesting point, though, since I'm on this self-indulgent soapbox, where both parties are in the shit so bad that people from all spectrums are really asking questions of the two, you know, do we need legitimate third and fourth options to begin to be a part of American culture?
Fuck, my eyes are burning.
And we're getting closer to it. Closer than I think ever.
I'm slowing down.
This could take a long time.
And that's a complicated thing. Because two parties has not been terrible in the United States.
Bear aisle. Bear aisle outside.
You can get shit done that way. That's one of the problems that happens with democracy a lot. You can't get things done. You don't have Xi Jinping to order things around and make a mess of everything. You only got one party to worry about if you're Xi Jinping. America's looking more and more like it's gonna have 4 parties.
Stay clear.
4 parties that don't just vote with one another either. Like, big enough that they can build their own coalitions. So that'd be cool to live through.
Ow.
Oh, you're gonna lose that guy, aren't you? Are you infected, Tucker?
Not yet. One more fight and I will be.
Kite him to the fire. 84. That is crazy. That's a lot of zombies. That was more zombies than we were able to bring earlier. They definitely tap it.
Get up!
I'm in trouble. We need to run, Tucker. Run. Get to a building. I think we have an outpost near here, don't we?
My guy ran the wrong way. I'm dead.
You got infected?
I was infected a while ago.
You said not yet.
Yeah, I know, but I got bitten when I... Didn't you see me get piled on?
I was piled on myself. And that's 85. All right, build a community, Tucker. That plague heart, though, has got to be one of the last ones, if that makes you feel any better. Oh, we've also completely alienated our community because I chose to talk about alcoholism and politics in America, which is... What I'm trying to teach you, young man, Tucker, is everything not to do if you choose to become a streamer or a YouTuber.
Ah.
That's right.
So never talk about alcoholism or politics?
I'm not going to advise politics unless you choose to make it like your thing and you just go hardcore on one position. If you want to be moderate in any capacity, then nobody gives a crap. They either want to love you or hate you when it comes to political
You could
content.
easily turn this place into a new base.
So either be super hardcore conservative or super hardcore liberal. It'll be fine. I did not want to use that missionary. Just far enough. Sorry, so behind. The SDA Church was an interesting place, very extreme conservative views on abstinence and things like that, like not having sex before marriage. An interesting place to start from to tweak your views. Like take an extreme position. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Interesting, like uniform your views on things, starting from the. Oh, not just sex. Starting from the Southern Seventh-day Adventist.
Invite, please.
We're in a real pickle of a situation, Tucker.
Are we always in the pickle and lethal zone?
That's true, we are. Exactly right. So, you liked it, but chose not to stay with it? Oh. Yeah, that's definitely like a thing about churches. That's why I don't go to church. I don't like the group dynamics of church very much. Like I'm saying, I genuinely respected and cared and liked the people. But I also knew I did not want to be a part of it. I had really bad experiences with church stuff too, personally. And that was the evangelicals. Like, I was put in evangelical camps, children's camps. And I wasn't like molested or anything stupid like that or anything crazy. But it was a cult. I loathed it. I loathed it. It felt like a prison. You're told what to say, what to think, who to be. There were some nice people there too. Like, it wasn't all bad, but the guy who ran it, the main guy, it was prison.
So,
Good ever coming from it. Hey, Tucker.
what did you want me to talk about? King Kong and
Who's
Godzilla?
gonna win, King Kong or Godzilla?
I think something's gonna happen, and King Kong and Godzilla are gonna end up working together to defeat a third wheel.
Is that like a leak, or is that legit your hot take?
That's what I think.
No, I think that's a really good theory. That makes complete sense. But I still think King Kong will win. He'll beat the shit out of that big lizard. Where is our car, Tucker? Oh, there it is. Get to the car. Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper, come on!
To just have faith. Right, I get you on the whole just have faith thing. Like, I see where that's negative. I mean faith in the sense that faith is believing in the faith of all, in the absence of all other evidence. I only mean faith, not in the sense of believe in the church, believe in the institution of the church. I mean faith in the sense that, yeah, we know Jesus existed, but obviously it's quite a leap of logic to think that he was the Son of God and probably resurrected 7 days later. But his philosophy, what he preached, what he stood for, that's something, you know, I personally can see in that, you know, tremendous value in. And hence it's been an institution for 2,000 years, twisted in whatever way you want to twist it, but just the original messages. And not even like the hippie stuff either. But anyway, definitely not faith in the institution of the church. More faith in the idea that maybe this isn't it. Maybe this isn't all we are. Maybe we don't just go into the dark. Maybe we aren't just a very, very odd cosmic accident, upright apes that can make tools and generational learning. I hope we're more. I want to believe we're more. That's what I'm kind of faith. But definitely not like just faith in the Methodist Church. Faith in our Holy Father, the Catholic Pope, the Archdiocese. Hell no. Hell no. No faith in those institutions at all. Zero. Personally. I mean, look at what happened with the kids. Faith in the Old Father, yes. I mean, our ancestors, if you've been in this country long enough, fled that shit. I can understand what you mean. The Bible has so many important lessons to teach. Right. Right. You know, it also says some really messed up stuff, like you should stone your sister to death if she backtalks you, or you should sell your mother into slavery when you're a man. Like, it also says really messed up stuff, but we definitely have religious icons who show up in the history of the human race who were in some way prophets, whether you want to consider that prophets from God, but spoke of. Tuck of that light, will you get that, please? This guy's gonna die. I don't have my notes. But that's kind of okay, because he was terrible. You know, from Moses to Abraham to the Lord Buddha. I've had more religious, as far as if you want to call it that, religious experience in Buddhism. I'm the furthest thing from a real Buddhist. I mean, you're supposed to, like, give up your whole life to be a Buddhist. But I definitely see tremendous value in what the Buddha taught, which was not all that far from Christ. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. Even if we have to take it, material wealth is nothing compared to wealth of relationships and wealth of character and wealth of spirit and soul. And what up, Duncan? Are you coming in? You run that community? Tucker was saying hi. I'm making this like
Exhausted.
What, bud? Oh. Yeah, we're hoping.
Arms dealers nearby. Their selection is huge, but the prices are high. We should check it out.
Well, in your screen we have 0 fuel, 13
quick.
meds, 34. Oh.
Scoot had bad lungs, so that had to
Is
happen.
anyone gonna step up and take a charge
He
around
was
here?
infected.
If you can't breathe right, you out, homie. I need stamina in this group.
Oh, you euthanized him?
Yes, sir.
Ah.
William said you ready, because we need help bad. These guys still are waiting for food. That's unbelievable. They've
Hey,
been so
guys.
patient. Yeah.
Are you coming back yet?
Any day now.
No question. Just one guy left, all the other people are civilized.
He's the old father. Well, you should definitely always be throwing rocks at your sister, so I agree there. Hey-o! But, you know, again, the Southern Day Adventists, you're talking about their cult. Like, again, and this is not a thing. I kind of made it. Sorry, I kind of got selfish there. So I start telling my own stories. That's one of the problems with Twitch. More focused on teaching you what to think, but instead of teaching you how to think for yourself. I see what you mean there. That makes sense, Bert Nerd. If there are a collection of stories, it's important to extract the relevant ones. Well, you should always be throwing rocks at your sister. Yeah, so, you know, there's parts of the Book of John, though, that I take literally. I want to take literally. It loses almost all of its power if it's not real.
I don't have to run carrying all this.
I think we can at least be confident that we're the only Twitch streamers right now talking about religion. Religious things. But I'll tell you, I don't think no place is the conversation on. I think there's 2 places, 3 places. I keep expanding, but the United States is #1, just because there's so many different religions in this country, so many different ideas. All the major religions are here, and they all coexist, and yada yada yada, and all that stuff you see on the back of the stickers. And then the Vatican City, just because it's a multi-thousand millennia institution, old institution, where they have followed the same rules, been a part of the same continuity, the same basic faith. You gotta, on some level, respect that. There's so much history there, and they have stuck with it for so long. And then the Holy Lands, places like Jerusalem. This probably would be the most interesting places to have religious discussion, but you know, one of the things about religious discussion, it personally doesn't actually interest me that much. So we can talk about it beyond here, and thank you, Bertner, for sharing, by the way. It's really interesting. I remember when I was a kid, though, and I'd go to the ball field, my dad and I would practice baseball all day, and there'd always be, like, people doing, like, religious lessons and shit, and we'd just be like, oh, that's weird. Because I'd rather talk about, you know, the sciences. That shit's a lot more interesting, really. What else is there to discuss? You either believe or you don't believe. And there are things that are damn interesting. People go to seminary for a reason and try to study,
Another day, another dollar.
you know, language and literature and the classics and figure this stuff out. But
Later.
everybody has their own interests, and it's just not one of my big ones for sure.
Go, go, go.
AK agnostic. I know I'm not agnostic because I watched The Exorcist and I prayed especially hard that day. You know, I definitely believe, and I would be acting like a tough guy if I said I didn't believe. I, you know, watch The Passion of the Christ and I get little tears in my eyes. I just got a soft spot for it.
Oh, this is quite of a pickle.
A movie about Christian martyrs in Japan. That's the kind of stuff that I'm like, oh, you know, I'll watch that over. But I also love movies like Seven Samurai. I think it's anything that has to do with like a really disciplined order. Tombstone. When Wyatt Earp starts shooting up the town because his brother died. Kind of shit I'm gonna get behind.
Plague zombies in all directions. Better be careful.
And I think it's the whole thing. There's no,
Okay.
you know, there's
Time
no
for a
such
close
thing as an
encounter.
atheist in a foxhole. And it might be this kind of clever, almost dumb thing, but there's also truth to it. Of course, that it's always gone reverse too. People like, there's many Christians who say, you know, Jesus takes the wheel, look both ways before they cross the street. There's a middle ground for sure. But I also accept personally, Dan, that a big part of why I probably feel that way is probably because I grew up in a church. I was baptized as a baby. I spent 18 years every Sunday going to church. You don't just break that kind of conditioning. So there's definitely a level of it where I was conditioned.
It's damaged. Just gotta
Damn,
keep
that
at it.
was gonna lose you, aren't we? Sam. Ow, my God. Tucker, I think you just caused chaos. Because things were going beautifully, and when we brought you in, when we were doing 4 people, it was beautiful. When I was by myself, I never got sick once. But the moment I bring you in here, it just goes to shit. So what exactly is going on?
I have no idea. Maybe it increases the difficulty because there's more people in here.
The fact that this guy just stalked me the whole time. I couldn't get ahead of him.
If I get some cure soon.
Oh my God, we don't have meds. This is so frustrating.
Oh my gosh, get up, get up, get up, get up, dude, no!
Dedicated to understanding faith is great, but if
I'm
the
getting
entity
ripped in
exists, I
half.
don't know how he would feel about us worshiping him. Well, it's the first commandment to worship him. I am the Lord your God. You shall bow to none other than me. You pray to no other God before me. You know, I'm butchering it, but that's the gist of it. He's God. He's the one and only God. You pray to him.
Oh my gosh!
So I get what you're going for, Bert Nerd, but it seems like this that Old Testament God definitely wanted us praying to him.
The guy who sells bounties, the guy who has bounties, is just getting wrecked by the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut just ran him over. Just ran him over.
Jeez. Depends on how you define God, as an entity or an ideal. I mean, in my mind, it's more of like an ideal. Not an ideal, but you know, it's an entity. It's a creator. The whole figurative made the world in 7 days probably did take 3 billion years, but the whole universe in this case. But in our broken way of humans trying to understand the language of a divine creator, we can interpret it only in time signals we would understand. You know, then from there you get into all kinds of whatever. 24-hour day cycle only exists. This gets into shit where there's a theory that the only reason humans got into outer space is because they could see the sky. That if we were the exact same species, but we evolved on a planet that had almost permanent cloud cover so that we couldn't see the stars, we would have never become spacefaring, and it would have come... Oh, I guess we did have. Thank God. Speak of the devil. We're going thick on the puns right now, but
No more of that.
yeah, interesting stuff, right? You know, that most of our iconography and religion is simply the result of the unique human mind, the fallacies, the biases, the blind spots, how we evolved, the planet we happen to be on, our place in the universe, all these things combined. Thanks a lot. You should actually take that, Tucker. I really appreciate it, but try to keep it. If you're gonna die and lose it, I'll keep it for you in the locker, okay?
Okay.
We're gonna
This
win.
is my
buddy, I
last
believe
guy.
it. Oh, okay. Well, when he's about to die, let me know.
Okay.
'Cause I know you fought for that bounty. So, yo, Mount Rough, tight end, Mount Rough. What up, Mal? Thanks a lot for being here, buddy. I really appreciate you. If there's a higher power, I'd hope they weren't that childish. I mean, they're God, right? I mean, I think the idea is that they saw us as childish. Whatever it was that pissed at us to begin with, and then wasn't so pissed and settled down, and now is just sitting there with his, you know, there, it, she, him, with the finger over the nuclear button. You gotta be good, because I'm coming back any day now. And if you read Revelations, you know, shit completely hits the fan. A 2,000-foot tall Jesus who's bronzed and shoots lasers out of his eyes shows up to vanquish hell and earth. Which is my favorite story. And one of the, Netflix did a really good job here lately with a show called Messiah, which whether you're Christian or not, but honestly, especially if you've been raised in that environment, you know, like how people feel about it and how you probably have been made to feel about it at one point or another.
That's a lot of stuff.
It really hits home, but it's about Jesus coming back, and it's not like hokey Left Behind stuff either. They do a really good job on it. Not that it's perfect, but it's a lot better than a lot of that stuff. Yeah, God changes his whole attitude. You know, it's when Jesus dies on the cross and he says, "Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do." You know, we're basically ignorant, stupid monkeys who don't know any better. So we screw it. And God's mad at us at first because we can't seem to get it right. And he keeps trying to teach us. You know, first it's the Garden of Eden. He gives us everything. We screw that up. Then there has to be a flood because we all speak the same language. And he has to spread us apart. And he doesn't like how we're living. And yada, 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 yada. And some of this stuff that in the Bible has been used to justify some of the worst things ever done on the planet Earth. And we all know it. So I'm not justifying it. You know, one of the things people don't like to talk about is one of the acts. The Confederate cause, for instance, was an exogenesis, which is a translation on scripture.
Okay.
I put it in one of my videos, the Gears of War video edit I made. The Southern cause, their constitution was an exogenesis. They felt that there was a religious hierarchy and that white people were at the top of that hierarchy. And Noah was supposedly a zombie, a white man. And his son-in-law was supposedly a black man, a Moor as they would call him. And that Noah got drunk.
Zombies will be here any second.
You know, what is it, like sour grapes or whatever they say in the Bible? Like, you know, they were drunk with the wine. Oh, they finally gave up on us. And his son-in-law came and like looked in him naked. And got really pissed about it because apparently he doesn't have bigger concerns right now. Like, oh my God, the divine creator just flooded the earth and killed everything, and now we've got to become kissing cousins 50,000 times over to fix this. So his son looks in on him, and it was wrong. And Noah scorns him, and because God sees Noah as a chosen son, then that scorned all the Moors, which were the black people, and therefore black people were meant to be lower. I'm not kidding you.
That's that.
And don't think this is my opinion. It's not, of course, not even remotely my opinion, but that is one of the elements of the Confederacy that people don't like to talk about. It's kind of a dirty secret. There was a whole thing of like, for lack of a better word, it's that ubiquitous thing, but it's that white Christian nationalism. That's what it freaking is. That reminds me of Othello, probably my favorite Shakespeare story. Dude, I could not get into that one. I had to read that in college, and I struggled. But yeah, the Moors. Of course, Othello, the Moors. The black guys are Moor. But they had a huge civilization. People forget about the Barbary pirates.
Anyone can hear me? I need some help.
There to begin with, they were the ones going around getting slaves. And then
Determined is a pretty good trait.
Oh yeah, what's it do?
It does plus 20. It does plus 20 max health, plus 20 max stamina, and not easily frustrated.
That is really good. Yeah, there for a while they were getting their own slaves, and then once the U.S. Navy and the U.K. paid them off, the U.S. Navy literally just started killing Barbary pirates, and that's the only time it stopped. We decided, of course, in order to deal with the evils of this, we would go ahead and have to get our own. Pretty grimy but fascinating character. That's well said, Dan. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see taking the Bible literally because some of the stories in there.
Okay, Zach.
Is this guy done?
Yep.
All right, let's go. Well, they're pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Boy, once we lost the team, these episodes just spiraled into. Put it in the back of the trunk.